right. Hello, hello. Going to just kind of going through the list of pending posts in GPU today and responding to them all via voice because, hey, y'all, this is so much easier and we are covering so much more ground. And again, if you like what you hear, if you would like to, get more support on your journey, if you'd like to ask me questions in person, get real-time responses, like please do join me over on Skool. It's such a great up and coming community. I've been working with parents since 2018, and I've just moved to this new platform where I'm able to support people in such a better, more direct way, and I'm able to support all of you through these journeys that you're having and the struggles that you have in your personal relationships, your parent child relationships, your romantic relationships, your relationships with your own parents. And, a lot of. Hmm. I bet you want to tell people you have a gecko again, huh?
Leopard gecko.
A leopard gecko, and his name is
Godzilla.
Godzilla. All right. Yeah, this is
Got that name from
super
Google.
exciting.
I got that name from Google.
You got Godzilla from Google, not from a movie?
I mean, that was one of the names that popped up when I looked up names for leopard geckos on Google.
Yeah. I love you, buddy.
Godzilla.
So, yeah, and another great aspect to working with me is that kids are always welcome in our spaces. If they come in and got something to say, they're excited to share something, or they're having a hard time, like they can totally pop in and interrupt. My kids do, as you see. But yeah, there are so many benefits to working with me one on one or in groups, up close and personal with the voice aspect. But I'm just going to jump past that and get into talking about this post. So the post reads, restraint. Excuse me. One moment. So the post reads, restraint, collapse, suggestions, please. For context, very emotionally intelligent 6-year-old struggling with frustration and anger at the end of the day whilst at home. Big feelings related to not having enough time with myself, her daddy, and young brother, as by the time we get home, short journey, and have tea, mostly already cooked or prepped, at I'm a full-time mother housewife and do clubs, her choice, and then do our bedtime routine. She just feels the night has evaporated and she's furious about it. Understandable. She's gone from having lots of choices and autonomy in the summer to just spending her days following instructions, and she is fit to burst. I'm looking for any gambits that may have worked for you. Things that we already do. Wrestling with daddy, some TV, but not much as time goes faster this way and she struggles more. Choice of clubs twice a week to burn off steam. Family mealtime, bath with siblings. Short after bath play with sibling. Stories and chatting with mommy and daddy separately before bed. Is there anything else we can do to help? We're a week into the new school year, so it's early days and she is tired. Well, Anon, I want to start by saying that I think this is a fantastic question. And I also want to just say that I can see how much you're dedicated to gentle parenting and to this journey and really being present for your child and helping your child learn emotional intelligence and gain some skills for managing her really big emotions as they move through her body. And so all of those things are really great, wonderful, and it's a great platform to start from. And it sounds like you're already doing quite a bit.
I'm hungry.
All right, give me 3 minutes, okay? 3 minutes.
Why not bring the computer?
Because when I'm recording, it's really hard for me to do that. And the things like making food makes background noises and stuff. There's not actually anybody in this Zoom call. I'm just responding to somebody's questions super quick.
Okay.
I appreciate you.
I love you, Mama.
I love you too, darling. So, anyways, sometimes I lose my train of thought for a second there, but I always grab it back. So, you know, I just want to say again, like, I think you're on a really amazing path, and it's really great that you're able to see your child so clearly. And I love that you're working so hard to get her the tools that she needs to manage these big feelings. There's a couple things that stand out to me in your post. One of them is, you're in your first week of the new school year. It's early days and she's tired, um, I agree with you there. And, I agree with you also that, where you say she's just spending her days following instructions and she is fit to burst. And I think that those things play really bigly into the advice that I feel like I can give regarding this topic. Um, you know, it looks like you're doing a lot of things, which is great. However, I just kind of want to point out that a lot of this stuff comes in as more structure, more parent led activities. And there's not a lot of space in this schedule or this routine for somebody to just rest and relax. And quite honestly, like, especially in the early days while we're adjusting to a new schedule, like you said, like, we're gonna be really, really tired. And there are times when what it takes to blow off that steam and let this all out of our systems is simply just to relax. Actually, in this case, based on the detail you share in your post, because you have so many bullet points of the different things that you're doing and all of that stuff, and like when I read this, like, I'll be honest, as like a 48-year-old adult, and I have my certain personality profile, right? And I'm kind of a demand avoidant, and I don't really like I like routines. I kind of need routines. I really thrive on routines. Um, and I like them to be pretty flexible and pretty open.
By the way, when you're in the living room, do not make too much noise because Godzilla is asleep.
Well, I wouldn't want to wake Godzilla. That could be scary. um,
I do like to
So
do
yeah,
that.
I kind of like a loose routine, but again, for me, something like that's got to be flexible. And when I'm getting into a new schedule, something that's not flexible, like going to school and things like that, I'm gonna be so exhausted for a minute, like all those hours out of the house. And not just that, but for me also, like feeling everybody's energies around and taking on like kind of the weight of the world. And, I have, again, like my own personality profile. So when I read this and I offer advice, I'm also offering that from my own lens, right? And I could be nothing like your child, so there's that. But for me, like beyond like taking on people's energies and just being out of the house for that many hours a day and all of that, I also have a lot of sensitivities to sound and light and a lot of other environmental factors due to PTSD and being an autistic person. So, for me, that kind of thing is so exhausting. And what I personally would appreciate the most at the end of the day, after just going through the things that are really hard on my nervous system, and I walk through my day out doing the things like the required things, like, not school for me anymore. And, I have the privilege of working for home, but there's still required things that get me out in the world for way more hours than I would love to be there. um, but what I would need is just kind of to be left alone, if that was with a book or the television or like, whatever it was. I would find a lot of decompressing and not being rushed through more activities. And I think that one way that we can show up for our kiddos, short of like, trying to give them all of these different places to release that energy, is simply just to sit with them in what they would like to be doing, or even just kind of give them space. Because sometimes, especially like I'm saying, when you're out of the house, there's all this stuff like coming at you, and you have to listen to other people and hear other people and pay attention and go here and do this and do that. And like, it might be most beneficial for your kid to decompress in some kind of self created silence, like whether that's watching TV or reading a book or painting quietly in the corner, but something that they chose in a way that they feel comfortable. And um, again, I don't want to make any assumptions about who your kiddo is and what your kiddo needs. So I don't want to say that the way you're doing this, because like, you've got some really well thought out, amazing things. And I don't want to say that that's definitely not what she needs. Because again, I don't have that personal experience with her. Well, you do. Just a suggestion from my perspective is that a little bit less um, parent guided and like, created activities and more time to decompress. But here's the thing that I want to say. And I talk about this a lot because it applies across the board to a lot of different things when we're dealing with humans, not just with kids, because humans are very individual. We have our own needs. I touched on that. I'm like, I got my own biases. So to me, this sounds like a lot, right? Because that's my personality type. And here's the thing is like, I have a kid. She is the exact opposite. Go, 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 go. I remember being out of the house, like doing a parent child day one day, and like she got to lead me here and there and everywhere. And it was all what she wanted to do. And like, solid 10 hours later, getting home, and I'm like stumbling through the door, just going, OMG. I couldn't take another moment. And here's my kid having a full on meltdown that it wasn't enough. And I bring that up because we have extremities, right? We have somebody like me. I am pretty much an extreme, like introvert homebody type. Like I do like getting out some. And then we have my one kid that is extrovert, extrovert, extrovert. And so then we have all kinds of people on the spectrum of humanity that have different sets of needs. And so I feel like the best way to really help our children with something like this, when we can see they're struggling, they're getting dysregulated, they're having a hard time, they're furious, they're exhausted, they're fit to burst, all of these things that I'm seeing in your post. And we see that our kiddo is having that kind of a hard time. The best way to support them and meet them is clearly if they have the language skills, like talk to them about it, ask them what they think they need, ask them how they'd feel with what at the end of the day, and what is the primary thing, like, ask them the question and make sure it's not like a trick question, so like the primary answer where they're just like, I just want to sit on the couch and do nothing, or I just want to watch TV or something like that. And we're not invested in the answer, we just let them say. And also sometimes some people, they don't know because they don't have a whole lot of experience with it, they've never experienced this before. They never looked into having tools for this before, or they don't have the language to express it. Or, there's a lot of reasons why a person couldn't tell you what it is they need to help them blow off steam, like including like if they're getting like these feelings that are so big that they're fit to burst. If you're emotionally dysregulated, you also can't really answer questions about what you need in that moment, because like the nature of brain science actually makes that really hard. So if our kiddos for whatever reason aren't able to express to us what their greatest needs are, then the next way that we can approach that is by really tuning into them and trying to find a way to like leaning into them and reading their body language. If we suggest something like, now it's time for tea, and they give you the side eye, or they shrink back, or they moan and stand up, or like, there's a gazillion and one ways that a person can tell us that they're not super engaged in this idea. Like, I would suggest that it's okay to let go of any of the above things that you do at the end of the day. Whether it's, having tea or wrestling or going to clubs, maybe particularly going to clubs right now, because that really sounds like a lot on top of the trying to adjust to the new schedule, going to school, like leaving the house again might be. And again, like maybe your kiddo really loves that club and they want to go to that club. So I'm not telling you to drop that club. I'm just suggesting that that club might be something that you could look at and see if your kid really is into doing that right now, right? And these things can always be revisited later if they're not really into it. Family meal time, like any of these things, if the kiddo is not super into it, like let it go, let it drop, and give them space just to rest and relax. And, I would add at the end of this, like, simply that we live in a society that is like, I mean, it's a capitalistic society, and our society is all about output, output, output. And um, the go, 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 and the get here and get there.
I'm
And
hungry.
all right, I'm in them right now. The do this and the do that and all of that stuff. It's actually, it can really take its toll on us as an adult, as adults sometimes, and it also has the ability to kind of take its toll on our children as well. So just leaning into our kids and making sure that the things that we're doing are the things that indeed this kiddo is enjoying and feels honored when engaging in these activities and all of that stuff, and recognizing that rest is also a very valid way and an incredibly healing way to let out that uncomfortable energy and blow off some steam. So hopefully you find this helpful. I'm going to go get this little guy some food because I told him 3 minutes, and that was way more than 3 minutes. All right. Gonna end this recording. Thank you for listening, and I'd really love to see y'all on the Zoom web or on the Skool website where we can talk about this stuff by voice.
I love you, Mom.
I love you too, my darling face.